Hare hare-rama, rama-rama, hare-hare.
Dobar dan, Hare Krišna, dobrodošli svi na današnji tepovodni događaj vjenčanja. Danas imamo vjenčanje 4 para. Ovo je vrlo tradicionalno indijsko vjenčanje, koje neki od vas već bili prisutni, neki nisu. Uglavnom, napravit ćemo ritual žrtvene vatre, govorat ćemo mantre, sve što ide uz to. I to otprilike traje nekakvih pola sata i tu su i naši gosti, duhovni učitelji koji će reći nekoliko riječi o važnosti braka, obitelji. Ja sam napravit ću jedan uvodni dio. Možete slobodno. Onda ću ja napraviti prvo asanak, može se.
spoštovani gostje, dragi družinski člani, prijatelji, znanci, bakte, dobrodošli v templju Hare Krišna. Danes smo se zbrali v prav posebnem dogodku, ko bomo na skupno življenjsko pot pospremili bisero Marka, dva mladoporočenca, bisero in Marka, ter Krišno Pat Prabuja in Anapurno Devidas. Priča bomo o obredu vedske poroke, kjer si bosta ženin in nevesta, tako kot je običajno v vseh duhovnih tradicijah, zvestobo obljubila pred Bogom. Tu v našem templju častimo božanstva Šri Šri Pančatatve in Šri Šri Gornitaj, kot jih vidite na oltarju. Tako da nekateri ste danes tu prvič in boste prvi priča takšnemu obredu, kot je že svečenik malo povedal, to bo v bistvu ognjeno žrtvovanje. Vedsko se reče jagja. Imamo pa danes tudi dva posebna gosta, duhovna učitelja, ki bosta malo več o samem obredu povedala. To sta njegova svetost Čandramali Svami in njegova svetost Mahatma Prabhu. Tako da bi ju kar povabila, da par besed povesta in nam predata nekaj kapljic modrosti. Še predno pa bi vprašala, če imate vsi, ki mogoče ne razumete angleško, ste dobili slušalke za prevod. Če je še kdo, ki ne razume angleško, naj dvigne roke, pa bomo prinesli slušalke za prevod.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Te Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paschacha Dasatane. I have to speak in English because in this lifetime I don't speak Slovenian. Although my grandparents are from around this area. So I am one of you. And one with you. In our temples, in the mornings, after we do our morning worship, we have a little ceremony where we bow down to one another. And some of you know this word namaste. It's how they say hello in India, but it actually means I'm bowing down to you. Nama, my respects to you. And so we do that in the temple. And the idea is that the body is a temple and God's in the body. So we bow to the God within one another. And then many devotees don't know this, but we also ask that if I have committed any offenses or made any mistakes, you please forgive me. That's the idea. So one day I said to my wife, I said, you know, my wife's a marriage counselor, and I said, I have a power secret, a power user's marriage secret. And I think you should incorporate this in your counseling, that every morning the husband should bow to the wife and the wife to the husband and offer their respects and ask one another, if I've offended you or if I've made any mistakes, please forgive me. And so it could be inaugurated by the husband or it can be inaugurated by the wife. So we started doing that every day, just because that's what we do in the temple. But you know, when you get married, you take your partner for granted after a while. Oh, that's just my wife. So we don't do that. You know? So we started doing that. And it's amazing. When you just ask someone, please forgive me if I've done anything wrong. Even if you haven't done or you're not aware you did, just please forgive me if I've done anything wrong or I do anything wrong today. And it sets the mood. It's like the perfect mood for a relationship. So I wanted to offer that to both of you. That's something you can do. And if you're inaugurating it every day, and let's say your husband doesn't inaugurate it, don't get mad at him, because then it would backfire. I'm always inaugurating, you're not. But just keep that mood. And that's really what a relationship is about. It's about respect. And it's about being able to acknowledge any mistakes we make. So I'll tell a funny story. Is that okay? I can tell a story. So the young man wanted to get married, and he told his father, I would like to get married. And his father said, okay, I will help you. So he told his son, say I'm sorry. And the son said, why should I say I'm sorry? I didn't do anything wrong. And the father said, no, just say you're sorry. But why? Just trust me, just say I'm sorry. But I didn't do anything. Just say I'm sorry. I don't want to say I'm sorry. I didn't do it. Just say I'm sorry. But I didn't do it. So they're going back and forth like this. Right? So the father is persisting. Finally the son says, okay, I'm sorry. He goes, now you can get married. Now that you've learned to say I'm sorry. I have more good ones, but not time for it. Anyway, I think we all know that the most difficult thing is to be nice to the people closest to us. It's easy to be nice to people you don't know. Just smile, hello, right? Go to work, oh, how are you? Be nice. But it's difficult to be nice to the people you're always with. And I think that's a huge challenge in being married. But something that's very inspiring that I heard, and you may have heard this also, public victory is preceded by private victory. So whatever you do, you learn to do that at home, then you can bring it to the world. So to be nice to people everywhere but at home, it's hypocritical, isn't it? It's a paradox. So we learn to be nice, respectful at home, where it counts the most, and then we carry it with us. And I'll just say one more thing. There have been studies done on marriage, and they found that a marriage where there's criticism, that marriage is going like this. It's going down. It won't last. A marriage where there's appreciation, it will just get better and better and better. So I don't want to break the bad news to you, but I might as well tell you now, because you'll find out anyway, your spouse is not perfect. Now I know when you met her, you thought he or she was, and that's why you got married. But as you know, none of us are perfect. And everything imperfect about your spouse, you will become quite well aware of sooner or later. And we have to learn to love one another, even love the things we don't like. And what I've found in my own life, the day that I told myself, whatever your wife does that you don't like, it doesn't matter, just accept her as she is. This is just how she is. And that day was the day I became peaceful, and the day I stopped bothering her. Why do you do this? Why don't you do that? And I think it's one of the greatest revelations that I got. Just, this is how she is. Accept it. It's okay for her to be the way she is. It's okay for him to be the way he is. And show your affection, love, respect, care, despite it. And that's how relationships work. And I found being married so helpful because I couldn't be selfish. And I'm very selfish. But when I got married, I couldn't be selfish anymore because there was another other self that also had needs and desires that were different than my own. So I grew up, single, just what I want, I do. What I don't want, I don't do. Now there's another person. And life is about giving. Life is not about being selfish. And when you're married, you can't survive if you're selfish. So you learn to be selfless. So it's such a good position to learn to be selfish. And anytime you have to do something that you don't want, your husband or wife says, could you do this? And you don't want to do it, you can always think, this is a good opportunity to practice selflessness. Because that's what I need. I need to become selfless. And in our spiritual life, that's what we're learning to do, to become selfless in service to Krishna. So it's an amazing ashram. I feel sorry for the sannyasis. They've never been in this ashram. I don't know how they ever be selfless and learn all these things. But it's just the way life is. Hare Krishna.
Ruined my opening statement. He said it. His is realized, mine is at best theoretical. Om Gyantimidandasya Kinajana Savakaya Chaksu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Bhakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya De Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vebacha Paditanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll just start off with a personal story. Somehow or other, women come up to me and ask me, can you give me a husband? Happens all the time. I was walking in the, what was it? Gata building in Mayapur. It's coming down the stairs. One lady, she came up to me and said, I don't know what she said. She was speaking a language I couldn't understand, but she was very emotional, extremely emotional. So I stood, and out of respect for her enthusiasm, I stood there and listened. Then I realized I had to find out what she was saying. So I saw a young man walking along, and I pulled him aside and I said, what is she saying? He said, well, she's speaking Marathi and I don't understand Marathi. So he stood by, and then I flagged down another gentleman, another young man, and I said, do you understand Marathi? He said, yes. And I said, what is she saying? She has a daughter and she wants you to find a husband for her. I don't know the lady. I never saw her before. She just came up to me and she started. So there I was, and I was thinking, I have to do something. So I just turned to one of the boys and I stopped and I said, here he is. And I left immediately. not to see what was going to happen afterwards. And sometimes we say happy ever after, but I'm not sure about this one. So, anyway, Srila Prabhupada would always say, Sarve Sukhetu Bhavanti. Let everyone become happy. It's a joyous occasion. And two souls come together to assist each other in becoming Krishna conscious. It's a joyous occasion. And it can be the best of any situation, or it could be a difficult situation. And what will make the difference? I think Mahatma gave some very practical and very subtle, very important aspects in terms of relationship. And that's the foundation of how to deal in that relationship, which will make that relationship grow. And of course, as he said, appreciation is the topmost. Sometimes people come to me with marriageable problems, and I say, do you remember what it was like when you first met your wife and you got married? I say, go back to that mindset and try to remember how nice it was at that time, and start to reflect on that mood that was there at that time, and try to bring it back to the present situation. And you'll see it kind of mitigates the problem that apparently has come. So yeah, time has a tendency to, as you say, familiarity breeds indifference. We get a little bit, what we say, routine with each other. But as Vaishnavas, we also know that giving respects to others and serving others is the principle of the culture of Vaishnavism. It's not just about Krishna, it's about each other. In fact, in order for it to be about Krishna, it has to be about each other. Otherwise, Krishna is not really in the picture. And so that relationship is can have a wonderful effect in bringing us to the goal of life, which is ultimately to develop our love for Krishna. But in that struggle to serve and to practice one's Krishna consciousness, there's a very important principle, and that is keeping Krishna in the center. There was one book that was written in relationship to marriage. It's called The Third Partner. And that is Krishna, the one who is the person who we center our activities around. What pleases Krishna, or what is that religious principle? That's the foundation for the duty I have in relationship to my wife, or into the activities that I am to play in the role as a husband or in the role as a wife. And one of the ways to keep the respect is how we address each other in terms of words. In the Vedic culture, which is the culture of refinement, they use a very, one might say, sweet way to address each other. A husband calls the wife Devi, which means goddess, and the wife refers to the husband as Prabhu, or my worshipful master, my master, like that. That helps us. We might think, well, it does matter how we interact with each other in terms of how we address each other, because as Mahatma said, and he really hit on a very, what you say, important point, is that as time goes on, things can get more or less routine or ordinary, or just sometimes become a little indifferent to the relationship. But it's important, because the whole principle of life is relationship, and ultimately our relationship is with Krishna. But in that relationship with Krishna, our relationships with each other have to be also based on the quality of that mood of service. So if we see ourselves as servant, then we don't have any problem. If we see ourselves as master, there was one story that I heard from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, where husband and wife were fighting, arguing, and they came to him, and he was listening to their arguments, and then basically he just couldn't really deal with the problem, so he said, but you should try to understand. He said to the wife, you are the servant of your husband, and he said to the husband, you should also see your wife as you are her servant also. So from both sides. So after some time they left and went back home and started arguing again. And the wife was saying, did you hear Maharaj? He said, you're my servant. No, you didn't hear me. You know, he said, you're my servant. So they got it backwards. But we are servant in order, and as we serve, we should know what is that relationship in terms of what is our duty to each other. Prabhupada said, if you want to keep the wife happy, of course I'm talking from, I'm just repeating. Mahatma can talk from realization, I can only talk from what I hear. Prabhupada said, you have to give your wife nice clothes, nice jewelry, and nice food. Regular. Huh?
And children.
And children, yes. Nice house.
I could tell you a few hundred other things, but we don't have time. We don't have time now.
Well, it's not like it's just once a year.
Once in a while.
So if you multiply the things by the number of days, it becomes quite numerous. And the wife should try to learn what is about her husband that she can do in order to serve him nicely. The wife studies the husband and understands how to please him. She doesn't argue with him, but she gets him to do what she wants him to do without arguing. That's a very, very, very subtle point that only women know. I heard about it. Because if a wife tells a husband what to do, it ruins the marriage fast. But she has to know how to do it without telling him. That's the program. Yeah. One very senior god sister of mine. She was not god sister actually. She's not my god sister, but she's a very senior devotee in our society. She said, I ruined my marriage because I was always telling my husband what to do. And he would tell me, because you're telling me what to do, I can't do it. That's the male That's the male ego. The man doesn't like his wife telling him what to do, but she should also know how to get things done by not knowing how to tell him what to do, by knowing how to tell him what to do, by not telling him what to do. And that's a science that only women can know how to do. Maybe you can explain that deep.
Honey, you are so amazing. You're so strong. You're so intelligent, powerful, creative. You are just amazing. I can't say enough about you. And there's a pile of dishes in the sink. You see them? And I know, because you're so amazing, you can clean those dishes like nobody else.
And you know how much you like the house to be clean, so. You are so resourceful, and I'm looking for some resources. So yeah, these are some of the subtle points, but ultimately, it's keeping Krishna in the center. And Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 13th chapter, he speaks about Krishna speaks about the 20 items of knowledge. And then there's about the relationship between husband and wife, and what are the duties in that relationship. And Prabhupada said, you should do 4 things. You should chant Hare Krishna together. You should read Krishna book together. He said Krishna book. Of course, we can read any scripture together. You should worship the deity together, and you should take prasadam together. So these are the 4 things Prabhupada mentions. It's in the purport, which helps to really understand what is our relationship beyond just the duties of household life. And that is that we're there with each other to help each other become Krishna conscious. And as they always say, a family that prays together stays together. It's nice. And I've also been talking, just recently one man said, I just started a program with my wife. We started to read together. It wasn't happening before. And he said, all of a sudden now, I'm starting to appreciate her association more now. So, yeah, so it's like that. And that's what brings devotees together, is Krishna. And that's what keeps devotees together, Krishna. If we keep Krishna in the center, then even though there is, Govardhan Puja, or Indra throwing his thunderbolts, but Krishna lifted Govardhan hill and gave everyone shelter under the hill. So there will be rainstorms, sometimes there's some thunderbolts, and sometimes they keep coming. But don't worry about that. Just take shelter of the Lord. And remember that whatever as I think Mahatma said it so nicely, that even if something is not agreeable, it's not so important. Prabhupada would also say, sometimes a husband and wife will get into an argument, but it's like 2 kittens fighting, that's all. It's not really, nobody takes it seriously. So even if there's some disagreement and some argument, ultimately, if the love is there and the appreciation is there, then all these things will pass in due course of time. So I wish you both couples, I'm just getting to know the other couple, the best. Stay together, chant Hare Krishna together, and worship the Lord together, and develop your relationship with each other in Krishna consciousness. Very simple, but very a most important thing we can do, because everything is based on relationship. Happiness depends on relationship. Misery comes when relationships are not there or they're not good. So it's something you have to work on every day, every minute. It's not something you just do and then it just happens. Well, I'm married and we just become routine. No. It's something you always have to be aware of. Your needs and the responsibilities you have to each other. And a husband should also make friends with other men, and the wife should also make friends with other ladies. If they depend on each other for everything, the relationship will grow weak. So you get your strength also from your friends, and that helps to build your relationship with each other also. Because sometimes if you depend too much on each other for everything you need, it could put pressure on that relationship and find it very difficult. So that's why we also have to have friends outside to fulfill our needs in a more complete and roundabout way. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare-rama, Rama-rama, Hare-hare,
Hare-krishna,
lagani ba, lagani. Ovak, Marko.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Rama
Sad dolazi na red jedan manje zanimljiv, ali je bitan dio kad mladoženja stavlja, pokriva glavu mladenke i stavlja crveni prah koji zovemo kunkuma, koji ima simbolično i ritualnu važnost. Tako da od tog trenutka se smatra da je ona u stvari udata žena i da tradicija je u Indiji da obično od tog vremena žene nose pokrivenu glavu, odnosno sari preko glave, kad su vani u javnosti. To nije svugdje tako, ovisno od kulture, ovisno od mjesta, ali to je jedna tradicija koja se zadržala i koja je dio rituala. Okay. Ja ću vam reći. Znači, Marko, uzmeš malo kurkume i ovak odavde po razdelju. Napraviš liniju. Ja ću djukovat mantre. Om sendur eva pradhavane shukhana shobata pramiya patayanti yavaha vihitasya dhara rusho noha vaji kasta bhindan urhi vapin vamanaha. To je baš prah. Vežeš. Sad stavi tu kumkum. Pokriješ kraj sarija preko glave, njena, iza. Evo, pomoć jedna. Da, to ti radiš. Sada će gospođa koja stoji iza će zavezati njihov kraj sarija i jedan kraj čadra od mladoženje. To simbolično se smatra kao njihova veza i tradicionalno se drži 7 dana da se ne odveže. Tako da pazite na taj detalj, ako je moguće. Jako puno detalja, jako puno rituala, ali svaki ima svoje značenje i svrhu. Jeste uspjeli? Ako imate nekakve ukusnice, nešto da pridrži, bilo bi super. Da. To možda i poslije, nema veze, samo da obavimo taj ritual. Ok. I sad zaveži te krajeve. Da. Kad završi, samo skineš njegov čadar i motaš oko sebe, tako da imaš slobodnu. Razumiješ? Kad završi ceremonija, samo taj njegov čadar ne odvežeš, nego samo ga imaš sa sobom.
A ja to znači ja sve nosim broj.
Tako je. Tako je. Sve. Ok, drži, prebaci čadar. Marko. Preko čadar. Tako da drži zajedno. Eto. Bravo. Idemo sljedeći par. Gdje nam je kurkuma? Tu je. Krishna Pad Prabhuji. Just put kumkuma on the... Oh, you have. Okay, super. Om sindureva pradhavane shubhana shovati pramiya atayanti yavaha grihitasya dhara rusho noha vaji kasta bindan urbihi dindvamanaha. To je to. Doduše ima još jedan ritual koji je zaključni, baš ono potpuno, a to su ovi 7 krugova koji će oni na kraju proći i svaki od tih krugova daje jedan određeni blagoslov za njih. Kad to bude, onda je to ono, crno na bijelo. Da. Ok. Džambavati, može mi upaljač da stoji? Upaljač. Please, taj. Sad ćemo nastaviti sa daljim ceremonijom, ritual paljenja žrtvene vatre. Izgovorat ćemo sve te mantre i onda će naši parovi, naši supružnici će ubacivati žitarice u vatru koje simboliziraju ponudu Krišne ili Višnu. Sandi može lagani bađan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Om Prajapati Vishnu Rishihi Brihati Chanda Shri Vishnu Devata Agnistapane Viniyogaha Om Bhur Bhuvar Sva Om
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Om Agnimihile Purohitam Jagyasya Devam Ritvijam Votaram Ratnam Harihi
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Om Samudbhavanamane Ihagacha Agne Tvam Samudbhavanamasi Avahami Stapahami Prabhu Kripaya Swagatam Guru
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Svasino Govindo, Svasino Chutananto, Svasino Vasudeva,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Sad ćemo nastaviti sa ceremonijom, znači izgovarat ćemo sve te mantre, Purusha Sukta mantre i nakon svakog izgovaranja svaha bacite žitarice rižu u vatru. Ok? Kadan znak, sad još ne. Om Bhur Svaha idam Vishnave idam namama, Om Bhuva Svaha idam Achyuta idam namama, Om Sva Svaha idam Narayana idam namama, Om Bhur Bhuva Svaha idam Ananta idam namama, Om Sahasra Shirasha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritvaha Atyatishta Dashangulam Svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Purusha ebhedagam sarvam Yadbhutam yatcha bhavyam Utamrita svasyeshanaha Yadanhena tirohati svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Etavannasya mahimaha Adhodhyayagam sapurushaha Padhosya vishvabhutani Tripadasya mritam divi svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Tripad urdva udait purushaha Padhosyeha bhavat punaha Tato vishvan vyakramat Sashana nashane abhi svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Tasmad viradajayata Virajo adipurushaha Sajato atyaridyata Paschat bhumim adhopuraha svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Yad purushena havishaha Deva yajna atanvata Vasanto asyasit ajam Grishma idma sharaddavihi svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Sapta sayan paridaya stri sapta samidha krita Devayadhyajya atanvana abandam purusham pashum svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Tam yagyam varhishi prokshan purusham jata agratah Tena deva ayajanta sadhya rishayashaye svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Tasmad yagya sarvahutaha Sambritam prishadhajam Pashuntam shakre bhayavyane Aranyagram vyashaye svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Tasmad ashva ajayanta yekhe shobhaya datah Gavoha jangirhe tasmahare Tasmad jata ajavayah svaha Idam Krishnaya idam namama Yad purusham vyadaduhu Kadhidha vyakalpayan Mukam kimasya kaubahu
Ka uru bhada uchyete swaha 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 idam krishnaya idam namama brahmanoho syamukamasid bahurajanya kritaha urutad asya yadvaishyaha padbhyam shudro ajayata swaha idam krishnaya idam namamam chandrama manaso jataha chakshu suryo ajayata mukad indrascha agnischa vayur pranad vayurajayata swaha Nabhyasid hantarikshan shirashnodhyo samavartata padbhyam bhumidisha shrodrade tadhalokan akalpayan swaha idam krishnaya idam namama vedahametam purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasastu bhare tam heva vivadati mrityumheti Nanya panta vidyate yanaya swaha 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 idam krishnaya idam namamam Om bhur swaha idam vishnave idam namama Om bhuvar swaha idam achyuta idam namama Om swaha idam narayana idam namama Om bhur bhuvar swaha idam anantaya idam namama. Oké, idemo dalje, još malo. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumelitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Swaha 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 Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadhati Swapadantikam Swaha 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 Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Adakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Swaha 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 Yeah. Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamcha Swaha 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 Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Chandramauli Swami Iti Namine Idam Diksha Gurave Swaha 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 Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Mahatma Prabhu iti namine idam Shri Diksha Gurave Svaha 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 Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhana Swami iti namine idam Diksha Gurave Svaha 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 Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Svaha 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 Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanam Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Apasidanta Dvantaharine Svaha 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 Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambhode Padambujaya Te Namaha Svaha 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 Namah Bhakti Vinodaya Satchit Ananda Namine Gaura Shakti Svarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Swaha 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 Gaura Virbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Satjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannataya Te Namaha Swaha 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 Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Swaha 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 Namah Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha Swaha 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 Panchatattva Makam Krishna Bhaktarupa Svarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Swaha 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 He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpathe Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Swaha 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 Jayatam Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matir Gati Masarvasva Padam Bujo Shri Radha Madana Mohana Swaha 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 Divyadrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtalibhi Sevyamano Smarami Swaha 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 Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutte Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Swaha 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 Srimad Rasa Rasarambi Vamshivata Tatastita Karšnavenu Svanair Gopir Gopinata Shri Estuna Swaha 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 Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Swaha 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Swaha Swaha Swaha. Ok, hvala vam. I oprostite na lošem vidu. Preskačem nekakve strofe, jednostavno nisam dobro vidio. Sad idemo napraviti jedan dio ovih krugovi saptapadi se zove. Znači svaki par će ići posebno i izgovarat ćemo mantre za svaki od ovih krugova. Prvo vas dvoje. Yes. Samo polako pazite na krugove da ih ne oštete. Samo na početku. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sad ćemo napraviti zadnji ritual, purna huti, gdje će mladenci ustati i uzeti banane. Kada izgovaramo mantre, onda ćemo baciti banane u vatru i onda idemo dalje. We need 2 more bananas. Oh, you can. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Om Namo Brahmana Devaya. Namo Brahmana Devaya. Om Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Om Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagaditaya. Jagaditaya. Krishnaya. Krishnaya. Govindaya. Govindaya. Namo Namaha. Namo Namaha. Om Namo Brahmana Devaya. Namo Brahmana Devaya. Om Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Om Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagaditaya Krishnaya. Jagaditaya Krishnaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Brahmana Devaya. Namo Brahmana Devaya. Om Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Om Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagaditaya Krishnaya. Jagaditaya Krishnaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Swaha. Swaha. Banana. Show banana inside.
No, please, don't throw.
Little bit. Easy, easy. Thank you. Kirtan. Sad ćemo iz 3 puta okolo.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama